Global colors offer an advantage when you want to change all the colors used in your artwork. For this project, we're going to place this artwork into a stylized ocean illustration. Blue is the predominant color. We would like to make the boat more prominent in the final poster, so we're going to use a yellow-orange color scheme, complementary colors to the blue, for the boat sails. Begin by deselecting all of the objects on the artboard. In the swatches panel, double-click your custom green swatch. Make sure that preview is selected. Slide this over to the side so you can see the changes as it happens. Change the color values to 0% for cyan, 75% for magenta, and 75% yellow, 10% black, and say OK. Next, change the blue swatch by double-clicking it, cyan to 0, magenta down to 10%, yellow 100%, and black 0. Oh, I forgot to check preview. There it is. And say OK. Next, select the purple swatch, double-click it, click preview again, and change the purple swatch to cyan 0, magenta 60%, yellow 100%, and black should be 0. And say OK. And save your artwork. So really quick, let's take a review on what we've done. We've created triangles and shapes using the pen tool. We've made both sharp corners and we've made curved bezier corners. We have converted line objects into shapes using the shape builder. We've created a color scheme and changed the color schemes. So now we're going to move on and import this sailboat into the final product, which is the poster. We're on stage 3. So we've got the sailboat and I've already expanded my layers. You can see that on layer 1, everything is just in there and it's not grouped. We can select different parts of this merely by clicking in this indicate selected art area over on the side. We can pick up any one of the items that we drew. And what I'm going to do now is I am going to select everything. So deselect off and just do a Control A, which is select all, shortcut key, or you can go up to select and choose select all from the drop down. And that is going to pick everything up. And I'm going to group this. Object, group, or Control G to group that item. We now have this lovely group that we can double click and rename sailboat. I seem to have missed at some point naming this boat drawing, but we're going to take that sailboat now, and we have that selected. We're going to copy this, and we're going to go to File and Open, and in your Regatta folder there is a poster. We're going to open that poster. And you can see that we have layer 1 and all of the items. We have 2 subgroups in layer 1. This is for the text. And we are going to paste, so edit, paste, our sailboat. There it is. Since it's still selected, let's drag this up and position it in the upper empty section of the poster so that the boat is in the waves. And like I said before, we're going to grab that layer sailboat, which is everything, that whole thing all grouped, but it moved in all nicely together. And we're going to drag that into the waves between wave 6 and 7. And you can see that it does cover the bottom of that boat, which is why I wasn't too concerned with it. We want a little more of that boat to show, though, so let's drag that up a little bit so it looks there. We can see it's underneath it, but we can still see the back end sticking up out of the waves. It's not going under. And we have now gotten that placed, and I already showed you that we have all the layers in there. Everything is still nicely grouped. We're almost done with our artwork. Let's save this poster, and you're going to save this as poster, and please put your initials afterwards so I will know whose is whose. Although we are going to export this out as a PDF file, but this is a good place to save. We're almost done with the poster. The final required adjustment is to change the shape of the highest wave so that it looks like a splash. If you review the existing artwork and layers panel, you can see the wave nearest the top is also the lowest one in the sub-layer stacking order. So we want to get wave 8. Let's select that. We're going to lock and hide other sublayers to avoid accidentally changing things that we don't want to have changed. Click the empty space to the left of the date and time sublayer and lock it. Then drag your mouse down this column to lock all the other sublayers and then unlock wave 8. We're also going to turn off the left banner sublayer because that is going to be distracting, so we're just going to hide it by clicking on the eye. Now that all the other sublayers are locked or hidden, you can select just the artwork of wave 8. We can do a select all just to be sure. And the only thing that we're selecting is that one wave. You can see that that's the only thing with a little mark on it. We're going to create shapes using the blob brush tool. The blob brush tool is used to paint filled shapes, which you can manipulate just like what you would any other shape made up of anchor points and handles. In this exercise, we're going to use the blob brush tool to paint a splashing wave shape, and then you're going to merge that with the top wave shape to create a single object. Deselect everything on the artboard by clicking off to the side and double-click your blob brush tool in the Tools panel to open the blob brush tool option. Your blob brush tool is going to be located underneath the paintbrush. So hold that down, select your blob brush tool, and double-click it to open up your tool options. Check the Keep Selected option and make sure Merge Only with selection is deselected. Check the fidelity slider and move it to about the 3/4 point. So somewhere about there, close to the smooth end of the scale. Mine did not come up at the default because I've used my brush before. So I'm going to set mine down to a 10-point size with a 0-degree angle and 100% roundness. And at that point, I'm going to say OK. Now my brush is going to be a better size, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit so that I can see that wave a little bit better. Make sure you have your default fill and stroke restored, and then move the blob brush tool cursor near the peak of the top wave shape. Align the right side of the brush to the right side of the wave peak, and click and drag to create an arch shape that kind of matches the curve of the existing wave. There is no right or wrong on this. You're painting a shape that matches the brush stroke you see while you drag. As you paint, the path might look a little sketchy, but the resulting path gets smooth based on the fidelity setting that we defined in the tool panel. When you release the mouse button, the result is a single shape and it fills the entire area you drew. The shape is still selected because we checked the Keep Selected option in the tool panel. The resulting path is filled with the default stroke color. When you paint with the blob brush, the defined fill color doesn't have any effect on the resulting shape, unless there is a stroke color set to none. With the path still selected, click and drag to create another path near the top of the splash using a slightly different arch. So we're going to continue this and make another little shape out of it. As you draw, you can press the right bracket key. That's going to cause the brush size to increase a point. The left bracket key will decrease the brush size by 1 point. And you can enlarge or reduce the brush size to create different thicknesses throughout the shape. Where the splash meets the top wave, make sure the left edge of the shape brush matches the left edge of the wave shape, and draw another shape. There is no right or wrong on this. You're creating whatever you want. Is your shape going to look exactly like mine? No. Is it going to look exactly like it is in the book? No. And that's perfectly fine. But what we're going to do next is combine the shapes using Pathfinder. Using the Illustrator Pathfinder panel, you can combine multiple shapes in a variety of ways. You can use one object as a cookie cutter to move or separate a shape from each other. And as you work with more complicated artwork, you'll find that there's a lot of different ways to use that Pathfinder function. So the next thing we're going to do is open your Pathfinder panel, which you're going to have to do from Window. In the Layers panel, click the top path and shift-click the bottom path layer for the things that we just drew. And you're going to take those and drag those down below the Wave 8 sublayer. And you can drag them all the way down to the bottom if you want. They just have to be below it. Okay? Choose Select All. So Control A should select everything. And then in the Pathfinder, you're going to do a Unite. And that's going to take all of that and group it together into one. Now, the cool thing about that is that the Pathfinder will take the attributes or the color of anything that you've done and use the top color and attributes to apply to the rest of the items as it changes over. So it automatically is going to pick up that blue color. So if you find out that you would like to make some changes, like I've got mine a little bit off, so I could actually go in here now and edit using my pen tool. In this case, I would want to use the delete anchor points, and I could delete a few of these anchor points in here and make some adjustments to smooth that wave out a little bit. And when you're happy with what you've got, zoom back out, save your artwork, turn on the panel that we turned off, and there is your artwork. Yours isn't going to look the same as mine. Nobody's is going to look like each other. Lastly, we are going to save this file out as a PDF or portable document format. This is the universal method for moving files to almost any digital destination. You can embed your fonts, embed your images, embed drawings, any other elements in the file so that this can be opened up on virtually any computer. The PDF format can be used to move your artwork to the web as a low-res RGB file, or as a high-res CMYK file. It can go to a commercial printer. We are going to choose to save as, and you're going to select Adobe PDF and save. In the dialog box, I would like you to select Press Quality. This is going to differ from what it says in the book. Pay attention. Preserve your Illustrator editing capabilities, and we're not going to worry too much about the compression. Compress the file to press quality. We aren't worried about any of the printer marks and bleeds at this point. There's a good explanation in the book for what all of these items are. I would like you to save your PDF. And that is the file you're going to send.